Hello YouTube. I was going to make a completely different style of video for this. For this bastard, this cunt, who doesn't seem to get it into his own head that a woman's body is a woman's right. So, I had to make a cup of tea to calm me down so I could sip it in between shots, in the hopes it would stop me from being so violent with rage that I would not bite my tongue off or bite through my cheek. Because, by fuck, this man deserves to get a fucking heater on his puss. I suspect this video might get flagged, because the guy might have an idea that it's just the suspicion if he ever gets wind of it. So get ready to download a mirror. I can't appeal the flag because I'm still underneath Stiggy's little flagging campaign bullshit strike.
My name is Mike, and this is the Hot Seat. On this morning's show, we have Georgetown law student and reproductive rights activist Sandra Fluke told sympathetic policymakers that the administration's so-called contraceptive mandate should stand because she and her peers are going broke from buying birth control because they're having so much sex.
Alright, you smug bastard. Let me get started, shall we? You're a man. You don't have to worry about buying birth controls regularly. You just buy a condom when you're fucking ready for a shag, presuming you're not married. And you're picking up someone for a one night stand. And you want to use a condom to control your for birth control or staving off an STD. A woman doesn't get that choice. Not all men will use a condom, and they'll do their best to convince a woman to let them not use a condom, and some women usually don't mind. They don't. You as a man, and me as a man, we don't have to worry about these things. Because like I say, condoms cost a couple of quid, couple of dollars, out of the condom machine in a bathroom in a fucking pub. You punctualist little shit. You don't have to pay about from anything up to $50 to $100 a month for some pills. And you are not a student. And she is. She has already got huge debts from being a fucking student. That extra wage should be covered by medical insurance. There shouldn't be fucking a problem like that. And your little smug attitude doesn't fucking help. Fuckers like you make me sick.
And I'm sure that the parents of this floozy is just thrilled to pop on C-SPAN and see their daughter say, I spread my legs so much, I'm going broke, I can't afford birth control, I need the taxpayers to pay for it. So in other words, Miss Fluke, because you can't keep your legs closed, I have to pay so you don't squeeze out a kid while you earn your law degree.
No, you daft cunt. That's not what it's about. Private insurance firms are not paid by you. It's not taxpayers' money that's getting used for this shit. It's fucking insurance companies that are paying for it. If you're a customer of an insurance company, then that insurance company must cover. And another thing, that's not what she said. Not at all. She never said she was spreading her legs wide open and thus cannot afford so much that she can't afford fucking birth control. What she did say was this, you bastard.
We, as Georgetown LSRJ, are here today because we're so grateful that this regulation implements the nonpartisan medical advice of the Institute of Medicine. I attend a Jesuit law school that does not provide contraceptive coverage in its student health plan. And just as we students have faced financial, emotional, and medical burdens as a result, employees at religiously affiliated hospitals and institutions and universities across the country have suffered similar burdens. We are all grateful for the new regulation that will meet the critical health care needs of so many women. Simultaneously, the recently announced adjustment addresses any potential conflict with the religious identity of Catholic and Jesuit institutions. When I look around my campus, I see the faces of the women affected by this lack of contraceptive coverage. And especially in the last week, I have heard more and more of their stories. On a daily basis, I hear from yet another woman from Georgetown or from another school or who works for a religiously affiliated employer, and they tell me that they have suffered financially, emotionally, and medically because of this lack of coverage. And so I'm here today to share their voices, and I want to thank you for allowing them, not me, to be heard. Without insurance coverage, contraception, as you know, can cost a woman over $3,000 during law school. For a lot of students who, like me, are on public interest scholarships, that's practically an entire summer's salary. 40% of the female students at Georgetown Law reported to us that they struggled financially as a result of this policy.
Now, she's just talking about law school alone, but that's $3,000 throughout her entire time at law school. That's a lot of money for a student. I mean, that's, as she says, an entire student's wage for some. They're not all rich little mummy and daddies, girls and boys. Well, girls, obviously. And what you're doing, son, is an ad hom. You're attacking her instead of addressing her argument. You are an arrogant, slimy cunt. You need to be taught how to fucking think. You need to be shown what it's like. Because she didn't say that's she's running out of money spending it on contraception. It's on top of all the other stuff that she has to pay as a student. And also, it's not a simple case of, I'm going to have sex tonight, I'm going to pop on a pill, like you would do with a man being the condom. It'd be like, I'm going to have sex tonight, I'll have one condom. No. Birth control pills have to be taken continuously. That's why they have to be bought every fucking month. Oh, you, sir. You should be taken out the back and shot.
If something is not wrong with that picture, folks, then you know what? We're done. Wrap it up and put a bow on it. We're done.
I guess we're done then, you wee bastard. But we're not, are we?
Not only are we finished in that respect, now we have Hillary Clinton making deals with North Korea. You'll love this one. We'll send North Korea food aid if they comply with UN regulations on having their nuclear program inspected. So in other words, we have to bribe potential enemies from obeying the United Nations. We have starving children in this country, but we're going to feed a country whose leader just 2 days ago threatened us with open war should we, by a millimeter, cross the border between North and South Korea during our practiced war games.
So the US gives 250 metric tons of food to North Korea. North Korea allows inspectors back in to see their nuclear bases. They agree to stop enriching uranium, and long missile tests are done. They're no longer nuclear testing, and they're no longer doing long-range missile tests. starving people get fed, very aggressive military program gets shut down, possible leading into better peace talks with North Korea, and possibly denuclearization of North Korea. Win-win. Oh sure, you can moan that the US has starving kids. That's your own fucking fault, pal. You vote for the parties that you vote for. If you want to raise something, then you talk to your senator passionately about it. You don't bitch on YouTube until your senator has decided not to back you up. Then you get your support from fucking the community at large, outside of your state. Make it a national thing to get socialised healthcare, which you're against, by the way. So, you're moaning about starving kids in America. Well, that's a simple solution. Cut your military budget down by half. You'll still have more money spent on military than the fucking rest of the world put together. But you'd have a huge chunk of money for your socialised healthcare, which, again, you don't seem to like.
So now we're going to feed them so they'll comply with the UN. That's just wonderful.
Yes, it fucking is. It's a win-win situation, pal. They're starving, get fed, they comply to the fucking UN regulations. And let's stop being a war. And less chance of a nuclear fucking war.
Just wonderful. It gets worse.
I get the feeling that's what's worse for this little cunt is better for all of us.
The Secretary of Energy, Dr. Stephen Chu, stated that he will do nothing to drop oil prices since his agenda is to create energy alternatives, which in reality is a failed project. We've seen Solyndra go down, we've seen Ener1 go down, it's not happening.
Alternative energy not happening. Hydropower. Wind farms. Solar energy. Now, you've got several states that are deserts. They get a lot of sunlight. Do you not think a huge solar plant could supply some energy? Nuclear energy. These things mean anything to you. And as for Stephen Chu not putting down oil prices, you know why he's not putting them down? Because they're not federally fucking controlled. Private companies, you understand this idea? Private companies control the oil. You don't understand a single fucking thing, do you? Oh, and I almost forgot. Wave energy.
He is on purpose not going to do a thing. He purposely wants oil prices to rise and our gas prices to rise so that way, folks, we can get on this ridiculous bandwagon of, we need alternative energy sources. First of all, that's not going to happen. Give it up.
You're amazing. I mean, where are you when all the environmental scientists are wanting the answers? You know, when they're doing all their hard work, all their research into environmental things, like global warming, or even how soon the oil's going to run out and the gas is going to run out. Because you realise at the rate of consumption, and it's getting higher, it's not slowing down, oil's going to run out fairly fucking soon. Texas is pretty much dried out. Alaska's got a field under it, but that's getting used up right now. North Sea gas and oil, that's not going to last another 50, 60 years. What are you going to do then, son? You're a fucking idiot. Oil and gas prices are not controlled by the federal government of the United States of America. They're not. Even if you lowered the price out, just make more people use it more, and you'd run out of fucking oil and gas faster. You're an environmental scientist, and you're an economic genius, so you are. I can tell that straight away.
Secondly, it would take about 50 years for electric cars and biodegradable cars, all this nonsense, to be the norm. It's not going to happen.
Have you ever heard... Wait a minute. Did you just say biodegradable cars? Do you understand what the word biodegradable means? Do you understand what the word degradable means? Obviously you don't. You're a fucking tool. Oh. Just... Oh. You are so stupid. It's actually causing me physical fucking pain. I've got a massive headache right now from listening to you, you cunt. Electric cars are becoming the norm right now. It'll take another 10 years, 20 years maybe, but they are fast becoming the norm. Car companies are fast producing electric cars right now to try and get them up to gear, up to speed. There's 3 or 4 released every couple of months. New cars, not newly made, new designs of cars. 3 or 4 a month, a couple of months, being made for electric cars. There's more electric gas stations opening up around the UK than yeah, it's just happening. There's no... you are so fucking stupid.
We need to open up our own supply. Folks, the majority of our onshore exploration is on private lands, and the government is making it harder and harder to get permits because they want to drive us into poverty. It's a fact, and it's a fact you're going to have to accept, or you'll accept it when it's too late.
As I've previously said, you dickhead, oil companies are not government controlled, they're private companies. The government has no say in anything they do except for tax and checking that, make sure that they're actually following environmental protocols and such like. They don't control the price of petrol. Open up your own supply. They're all fucking private supplies, you idiot.
I talked about, on my last 2 shows, the absolute ridiculous situation we're in with the Middle East. We've lost the war in Afghanistan, which was predictable, because the English and the Soviets couldn't do anything. Now, we're going to be dragged into Syria, we're going to be dragged into Iran, and that's a joke. When Obama first showed up on the scene, he is quoted as saying, "Oh, Iran's just a little country. They're nothing. They're like Cuba." Now he's going around in recent days saying, "See, I always told you Iran was dangerous." I mean, which is it? Are they a tiny little puke country like Cuba and harmless, or are they a catalyst to World War III? I mean, make up your mind. And yet you people continue to follow him. He is 10 points ahead in the national polls. That's disgusting. And that's why, folks, we're finished.
I do think Obama has been as bad in some policies as George Bush. In some others he's not been. I mean, he's still got Guantanamo Bay open. However, compared to the competition, I'd back Obama any day. I'd have George W. Bush back compared to the competition that's been available right now. Junior and senior. In fact, I'd prefer senior. But junior. Fuck it, I'd have Reagan and Nixon back. They could double team. It'd still be better than what the Republicans are putting forth right now. Afghan is not over. The Afghan war is still ongoing. It's not lost, just lives are, unfortunately. Ah, dear. And as for Syria, no, you're not getting dragged into it. Just like you didn't get dragged into Libya, you were asked to look after the start of the war until NATO could get in there. And as for Iran, yes, it is a bit of a worry, but again, that is a situation that I'm guessing you know fuck all about.
Hillary goes on to tell a Muslim group, I guess a bunch of college Muslims, because the question was asked, why do Republicans and Democrats support Israel so much? You know what her answer was? Well, during the campaign process, things are said out of context, and you really shouldn't pay much attention to them. So, in other words, you're just blowing smoke up people's backsides to get votes, but you're really not pro-Israel. Well, I'm sure Netanyahu is just thrilled to hear that.
She's a politician. You're surprised she's given a soft answer to a hard question like that? Really?
And folks, here's the majority of Obama's fan base. This is why this country is done. This is why it's over. Just wrap it up and put a bow on it. Here's Obama's main constituents. African Americans, families of illegal immigrants, welfare recipients, people who want birth control and abortions paid for, and homosexuals. Every deviant form of society will go to the polls and vote for the Sultan-in-Chief.
You've just called African Americans deviant. You've just called homosexuals deviant. You've just called people who want better rights deviant. And the illegal immigrants deviant, apparently. How can illegal immigrants vote, by the way? Just a quick question. Because you have to be in an electoral role, usually, to vote. Or at least in this country you do. In the UK you do. But why are you wearing that suit? Is your normal one, is the white one in the dry cleaners? Is that what it is? Is it the hood? Is that the problem? Is the hood the problem? Is it a hard one to clean? Did you get some little stains? Possibly some brown ones on your little white suit with a wee hood? Because you are that much of a bigot. I reckon you could be easily David Duke's right hand fucking man. You, sir, are a fascist cunt.
And finally, folks, I'm sick of these people on MSNBC, CNN, you name it, trying to say that the rise in the Dow Jones is an indicator of an improved economy.
These would be people that have expertise in economics. Business leaders, people who have studied it in university. Not people that have just googled it up, like you're about to see here. Now you see, I thought I was done with this cunt, but he came up with this gem, and I had to continue with it.
No, it is not. Let me give you all a little lesson. The Dow Jones is not an indicator of employment or the quality of employment. All it means is that more shares of stock were bought than were sold. That's all that means.
For folks that don't know, the Dow Jones is generally... where was it? I had the description here somewhere. The Dow Jones is an economic indicator that is available immediately and changes every minute. Generally, the higher your GDP, the better your economy. The fact that more shares were bought, that's a good sign. When stocks plummet, that's a bad thing, okay? You want shares to rise, you want stocks to rise. That's when companies stop getting nervous. That's when they start to take on more people because they can afford it. economic expert.
And folks, people buy more stocks when the stocks actually are either stagnant or at a slow decline. Why do they do that? Many stocks offer quarterly dividends. So, as the stock declines a little bit, you're able to buy more stock. Certainly people are not going to sell their stock when they're stable or declining, are they? No, they're not. That's why more older people are working longer. Their 401ks are flat. Their IRAs are flat. There has been no growth.
Stocks and shares are rising according to the Dow Jones indicator. Rather, the sales of such like, if sales of stocks and shares are rising, that means more people are buying them, which means the companies that their shares are selling on, have sold their shares, they're getting more cash flow in, which is what they want. The more cash flow that goes into a business, the more it can spend on staff levels, the more it can spend on its products, the more people will buy because they're actually getting jobs or wage increases now, because the cash coming in from the shares being bought, and thus the price of the shares rise up, so that when they're resold again at a higher price, the company still gets more fucking money. You really don't understand the stock market, do you? I mean, the last time I took business studies was in fucking second year when I was 14, and I still understand it.
You want to see a steady sell-off, a gradual sell-off? Because people are making money. They sell when it's high. But when you say buy, and just a complete rise in stock, in the Dow rather, because stocks aren't moving. People are holding on and just reinvesting with the dividend. So the Dow Jones is not an indicator. It's employment and quality of employment. Go ask Detroit how wonderful the economy is doing and how great the auto bailouts work for them. My name is Mike. This is the hot seat.
Once again, you show a complete lack of understanding when it comes to economics. How can they reinvest their dividend if they're not selling off their shares? And if people are buying shares, that means people are selling shares. And like I said, the more you buy, the higher the stock prices go. It's a little thing, called the stock market. You've obviously never worked in it. Neither have I, but I still understand it. Buy low, sell high. Unfortunately, with the stock market as is, it's buy low, sell low. But that's increasing, and that's a good sign for the economy. Sure, employment levels and employment quality come into play, but you can't have that without the stock market for the PLC companies. It all ties in. You'll start to see the employment and levels of quality and, staffing going up as the stock market recovers. You really don't understand it, do you? Oh, and you go on to say something about Detroit bailouts for the for the car companies. Sure, Detroit's been in a decline for a long time. That's the failure of the companies. It's not the failure of the stock market. What happened to the companies is different, completely different to what the Dow Jones is going through. And it's not a good example for you to use. Not at all. If people don't buy your products, there's nothing you can do. Anyway, I'm done with this arsehole. Today's video has been brought to you by the words fucking, cunt, and bastard. Bye bye. Oh, and the number 3. Bye bye. Actually, I almost forgot. This guy's been banning. He's been deleting comments on the video when from people have been pointing out mistakes for him. So people like Schizophrenic Queen. He's probably banned death of speech as well by now. And several others that were commenting and disagreeing with his video. just to let you know, folks, I will leave a link to the video below. You can go visit it and leave a few comments, but it won't make any difference. The guy's an arsehole, and he can't take criticism. So anyway, see ya.